All right. Welcome back to 016 of the OK Podcast, powered by the Strength Co. and sponsored by BW Tax. I'm your host, Grant Broggi, coming to you live from South Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina, where the women's Gamecocks are champions, parading through Columbia this week. But as things go, it's April 16th as we record episode 016, and Bitcoin is 63,799 on our block clock right here, block height, because it's not going to refresh for like 2 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was going to tell us that.
I don't want you to completely be out of a job.
All right, let me look this up. You know, with people who've been around the Bitcoin block for a little bit, this kind of drop doesn't even faze you.
Oh, I didn't even see it as a drop. I just saw it as halving week.
Exactly.
Yeah. Some people are like, oh, 73 last episode. Well, now it's 63 and it's halving.
No. The block height is 839,568. And we have a big week coming up in the Bitcoin world. This is the week of the Bitcoin halving. And all you guys need to know is that it's a big deal and people freak out about it. And
things are about to be on the up and up.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But you know what? If it dropped to 50 tomorrow, I wouldn't even blink. I'd be like, okay.
I'd probably buy some more.
Yeah, it's time to buy. Yeah. If it dropped to 20, I'd be like, well,
man, can't afford not to buy.
Then it's buy more.
It's free.
It's free.
The voice you hear is PJ, producer Jordy. We're here together in studio, and we'll be joined by Trey and Jeff here shortly. But this week, I just got back from California. We'll probably talk about that a little bit. Went back to the Strength Co. Costa Mesa, where it all started, to the gym. Did a lifting camp with Coach Connor, a starting strength camp. Sold out at 12 spots. It's a 6-hour camp where we go over the biomechanics and how to squat and deadlift and answer all your questions. Very in-depth seminar. We do those 3 to 4 times a year at both our location here in Greenville, South Carolina, as well as there in California. So if you missed that one, we'll be doing another one most likely in July. And we'll have one here in Greenville at the sometime in June. So if you're in the Southeast and you're looking for, like, you're a starting strength nerd, you like this podcast, you turn it off at the 30-minute mark when we stop talking about lifting, like you're just here to nerd out. That's what this is for. We also offer form checks and, hey, come in for, an hour and a half, and we'll show you how to lift. The seminars are more for, hey, I can't make it all the way out to see Mr. Ripito in Wichita Falls, but I want more than just an hour. So if you're looking for those, follow us on the Strength Co., follow the Starting Strength website. We do those a couple times a year.
I've never been to any seminar, any kind of seminar. I got a form check from you virtually.
Yep.
That was the first time I talked to you.
Sure.
But
you filmed a camp in Costa Mesa.
Well, yeah, I've never attended a camp. Yes.
But you kind of get the idea, having done a virtual form check, which is different than an in-person one, just because, like, it's
not
different.
It's good, but it's not the same.
But also at the same time, having filmed a camp, it's like a whole new level of explanation.
Because you can see all around the person. You can, not in a weird way, but you can, like, touch them and, like, put them into position versus you having to speak over Zoom and explain to me to push the ground away on the deadlift. Or
Sure, for the one-on-ones. But I'd even make the argument that the benefit of the camp is watching other people lift.
It's the vibes.
Yeah, it's the vibes. But no, mostly it's I tell you to do something, you kind of get it.
You see someone else.
And then I look at the next person and I tell them, and then you get it. And then, like, when they realize, like, oh, Grant's kind of a jerk to everyone, it's not just me.
Right.
They process things better.
Yeah. Have you changed how you do camps over time, or is it kind of the same as you started? Because you've done 100? I don't even know.
I've not 100, but I've done quite a few. I would say that when I do a starting strength camp, it is definitely different than when I do a gym camp. So a gym camp is focused on, hey, I got 75 members, here at the Costa Mesa gym, and a lot of people have friends that want to come in. They're not going to pay $300 like a starting strength enthusiast because they don't know what they're getting into, but they'll pay $50.
Right.
And so we say, hey, we tell them it's an hour block height. Let's confirm it. 83.9568. Was that the same number?
That was the same number.
Same number. Look at that block clock in action. But they don't know what they're getting into, and they don't want to commit 6 hours.
Yeah.
And they also, you're selling them on the idea of strength training.
Right.
And the ultimate goal is that they're local and you're converting them into members.
Right.
Whereas at the Strength Co Costa Mesa, that's the only starting strength show in the entire state of California.
Really?
So we had people from San Francisco, San Diego, San Bernardino, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, because it's the only kind of thing on the West Coast
Only
to
show
do
in
this.
town.
So those people are already sold on the idea of strength training and working hard. Yes, they want their form fixed. Yes, they want to make sure they're doing the lifts right, but they're there for like a deeper understanding on how to progress. Whereas like a camp for the gym is saying, hey, my brother Bob's been a member here for 3 years and he tells me how cool his 405 deadlift is, but like, I'm not really sure.
Right.
So those two camps are different.
Okay. So it's like levels of commitment.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if it's even lower than that, it's like, hey, check out the YouTube channel.
Right. Well, what's interesting now is like this starting strength camp is a lot of them are like absorbing our YouTube. And they're like, you know, hey, I've been watching this. I followed Ripito, but then I found your channel.
Yeah.
And so that's funny.
I've talked to people who have said that they've binge watched. They like don't watch you for a while, and then they'll binge watch like 20 videos of yours, and then go off and then binge watch the 20 that they missed.
I'm basically Masters of the Air.
You know? Where's your Netflix show?
Yeah, it's coming.
This camera that you're being filmed on is a Netflix approved camera.
Netflix approved camera. So
yeah,
that's coming in 2025.
Yep.
Netflix is following the Red Sox this year and me next year. No, that's not true.
One more nerd question.
Sure.
Have you, how have you changed your approach to coaching people from your first camp to now? Because I'm imagining you go in blind, somewhat blind. I mean, you had coaching experience before, but you got to like learn things like, oh, this didn't work. This works better.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a technical approach where the more it's like anything you do, the more you coach, the more tools you have in your box. Hey, like these cues aren't working. Try these cues, whatever. I think the more thing that would be changed is now I read the person much more. And so it's not necessarily like, hey, this cue doesn't work, but it's like, oh, I kind of understand this personality type. Like this person's going to respond really well to being very direct, you know, kind of a jerk and just like, hey, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
And then this person's going to respond better like, hey, you're doing great, but you know,
try this.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, probably gotten a little bit better at assessing who I'm coaching.
Yeah.
But I mean, all in all, I don't think much has changed.
Did you start off more the aggressive route coming from the Marines?
Yes. Yeah. I was much more aggressive to everyone, which seems to be what people like.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not everyone. You know.
Not everyone does. Not everyone does. Got to train there, which was cool. I think I trained in there twice. I got to train in a garage gym while I was there. Jam-packed schedule, had the camp. Met with some of my coaches, you know, had a bunch of different stuff. We have operations going on there at the warehouse. So I got a ton of time one night and I wanted to see a friend. Good thing is if you started an equipment business in 2020, then you have home gyms all over Orange County. So I got to get some squats in a garage gym, using our equipment, which was cool. And then took the red eye last night, got here this morning, slept a couple hours, catching up on work. Last thing I wanted to do was go lift, went to deadlift. I think last week I pulled a single at the gym with some clients from Zoom. Then I pulled 525. And the week before I did 475 for 5. And so I usually like alternate and then do back off. So I technically should have done 480 today, pulled 405 for a double for my last warm up. And I was like, man, 480 might go, but I also slept about 3 hours. So I did 455 for 5, which I thought was good. Did a back off set and called it quits and went about my day. But travel's tough with training. That was a lot of questions from the camp. What do you do when you're traveling? My work is this, you know, and we've talked about it on this podcast. We've talked about it on the YouTube channel. Something's always better than nothing. Today I didn't have much time. I had 30, 40 minutes. I went in there and did, a total of 3 sets, 5 on the deadlift, top set, 2 back offs. But it really is true. Something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah. Unless you're doing L-sit chin-ups with a medicine ball in between your legs.
What did you think about that?
I was torn, personally.
We're talking about JT, and for those that were homeschooled, that's Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
Timberlake.
Grant posted a video of him doing like some chin-ups from the ground, seated on the ground. And he was doing like an L sit chin up, and he was holding a medicine ball between his feet. It was very elaborate.
Yeah.
It was would you say like, whatever you do, don't deadlift or something like that?
Yeah. I was just being silly, right? Yeah.
I mean, I was a little torn because like I grew up, in the boy band era.
Sure.
That was popular in my day. And so I respect JT for his talent. He's good. You may not
as a singer or a workout enthusiast?
Purely as a singer and dancer, musician, but so I respect him in what he does. But man, I wish he would just deadlift.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. I don't know if I could get on an L sit with that medicine ball and do a set of 10.
You could do
right? Maybe. I guess I should try it. But people also were like, oh, he's got good core strength. He does. I would make the deadlift and the squat. But I would make the argument if he can do that with his current training regimen, he could actually be really strong. It's just funny whenever you post that sort of stuff, and especially if it's someone famous, then everyone somehow that thread turned into talking about bench press. Everyone just wants to know how much you can bench press, but yeah.
Dude, also, it's like this. It's always the celebrity trainers, dude.
Yeah, I know.
They have to. Is it just because they have to sell it? They have to sell you doing something that looks good for Instagram. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one, they have to make the celebrity look cool. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a part. And then two, they have to showcase that they're training a celebrity.
Right.
And they don't, deadlifting's boring.
I mean, if I saw JT deadlift 550.
Yeah. But you and I think about this differently, but I would agree. So I always say, if you are a celebrity or just a general person training or a movie star, whatever. I guess celebrities are movie stars or vice versa. But if I see someone deadlifting 405, I know like, oh, they trained a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they trained a little bit.
Right.
It's like when American Sniper came out and Chris Kyle is trap bar deadlifting 495, albeit from blocks.
Yeah.
So it's like a modified,
that's like 405.
pull. Yeah, but it was kind of, right? I was like, oh, like he actually worked out to be able to do this. But
I mean, he's also going to be going on tour. So maybe it's like you want to do a different training if you're going to be running around on a stage for 3 hours every night. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would just go back to the general strength. Strength training helps a lot. Maybe he does deadlift and we don't know it. And they just show the L ball sits.
I doubt it, dude.
L sit with balls. L med ball sits.
That's it.
L med ball sits.
That's what it is. All right. Next week, I'm going to do that. I'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah. Is there a med ball at the strength co at Blockhaven?
There's got to be.
Yeah. It's really been annoying me there. And this is just like
one of which thing?
Yeah. But to just put like all the rock climbers on blast. So, rock climbers also will do anything except deadlift.
Dude.
And they care about grip strength. And so they all have the wooden dowels for forearms.
Yes.
Do you know what annoys me?
What?
They take all the strength co plates and they tie it in like 6 rock climber knots.
Yes.
And they just throw it in the corner.
And then you go, where are the 25s?
Yeah. Where's all the 10s? And it's like, this dude has 3 10s and 1 2.5.
Yep.
And it's like, put the weights back when you're done, man.
Dude, last week, when was this? I think maybe Saturday. I was going in, I was lifting. Fiance came with me. She was squatting. I was squatting.
Okay.
Go to get a drink of water. Come back. Some rock climber dude is like taking the weight off of her bar with her bag sitting there, like a belt over the bar.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know you were using this. Like just the level of being unaware. Like how unaware do you have to be?
So I thought about that. Let's see. Trey, you can leave this in. You don't have to. My headphones are being problematic. I might be late. Okay.
All right.
So we got time. People are unaware. I thought about that. I mean, I can't really complain at Blockhaven. Cool gym. If you live in the upstate of South Carolina, you want starting strength coaching, come by.
Yeah. I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, we got a full setup. It's great in terms of equipment, but it is funny, when I teach a camp or we teach, any of the coaches at the strength co teach them for the first time.
Yeah.
We're teaching how to lift. We're also teaching how to use the gym.
Right.
hey, plates on the rack or on the tree go letters out. They go on the bar, letters in. When you're done, you put the weights back. You wipe down your bench with a, moist towelette. You take the collars and they go in this box over here. Chalk goes here. Don't use chalk like an idiot. Like chalk inside the bucket. The bathroom's there. If you're done with your water cup, put it there. If you leave your water bottle, we're going to throw it away.
Just the etiquette.
But we just teach it. Yeah. Like this is all a part of weightlifting.
It is.
And when you go into a commercial gym or even, the strength co at Blockhaven, a lot of those people are there to rock climb. They come to use the fitness area and they have no idea.
No,
it's not their fault.
No, it's not in the culture.
Right.
You know what the worst part was? I said this very nice. I was like, hey man, still doing squats, still using that. And then he looked at me and was like, oh, sorry. And had an attitude about it. I was like, okay, dude. Yeah.
We had so Saturday, 12 people signed up for the camp. That's the max for starting strength camp. And I always leave the door to the gym open because we have a film on the window so you can't see in. Mm-hmm. And so when people pull up, the place can look like it's closed. So I leave the door open as people are coming in. So we had 9 to 12 people there. And there's a barbershop next door. And God bless Today Barber. They deal with a lot of loud noises and all that different stuff. But on Saturdays, they bus in the rehab clinics, not the barbershop, the rehab clinics, bust the rehab patients in for haircuts.
Okay.
And so it becomes this huge vape smoking community.
Holy cow.
Right in front of the gym. And so most of the time they're cool, even though they're tatted out of their minds or whatever, they're just cool. And so there's 2 guys ripping cigs, right by, they're standing by the glass. Here's the front door and it's just coming in.
Yeah.
So I just go out and I'm like, hey guys, we're running a fitness class in here. Would you mind going around the corner?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? But not tough guy prison. I want to kill you. What?
Genuinely confused.
I have no idea why you wouldn't want to smoke my cigarettes.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it's a fitness class. All the smoke's coming in.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're waiting for our haircut. I was like, I know, you're here. Can you walk to the other side of the haircutter's door?
Yeah.
And let the smoke go in there?
A reasonable ask.
He's like, I don't understand why. I'm like, can you please move away from in front of my business? And they both do, and they're mad. And then I shut the door and locked it because I was like, they'll probably come in here and try to punch me.
Yeah.
But all the clients laugh. But yeah, it was just it's the same thing in the gym. You're like, hey, I'm actually still using the squat rack. What?
Yeah.
It's I'm actually the one being nice here.
Yeah.
You're the one who's clueless.
And he didn't even lift. That was the worst part.
Yeah,
and actually that was a good day for gym rants because also we had 2 sets of people, 2 groups of people come in and use the deadlift platform that day. And
rare occurrence there.
And it was funny because in both groups of people, there was one guy who was the coach. And I say that loosely, right? He was the guru.
The alpha.
Didn't look like he could even deadlift 155, but he was the coach, right? And both individual people, each of these quote unquote coaches were yelling at these other people to no, you got to look straight up on the deadlift, get your hips really low and stand up. And I'm watching these guys and they were putting up weight. One guy had 405 on there, one 365.
Was he able to lift it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, no, you got to get your butt lower, man. You just got to scoop it up. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, you're on your toes at the bottom.
Yeah. And the bar is 6 inches forward of your midfoot.
And then exactly. And then he lifts it up. And then obviously the bar swings to him.
Yeah.
Which bends him over, which bends his back over. And he has to jostle it up.
Did he get it?
No. He got 365, but it was the most teeter totter kind of
scoop it and poop it. That's what I always say.
That was literally the technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a good lesson. And you can't give other people gym advice.
No. Especially a commercial gym. Never do it.
No. I was just sitting there watching good luck.
Yeah. People were talking about that at the camp this weekend. They're someone had been to a seminar before. They're I go to a public gym and I just look in amazement. I'm like, yeah, don't even look.
Yeah, just shake your head.
Just
do your thing.
Just look down and do your squats.
You know what you do? You just go deadlift with correct form more than them.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
they shut up. All right, let's get these guys on here.
All right.
Episode 016 of the
Okay.
podcast powered by Strength Co and brought to you by BW Tax. We got a new special ad read from last week's episode. Big Jim DeNofa and we're just got to play it now. We got 3 ads to play. It's the day after tax day, 016 on April 16th. Go ahead. Let it rip.
The thing that I've always liked about bwtaxllc.com is that they are a smaller company, and smaller companies care more. In general, there's not a hierarchy of people that are telling you, make more money from our clients. They want you to make money. That's why you use them, because when you use them, they're gonna give you the tools to get the most money back from the government that generally takes all of our stuff. But it's their mission. It's their job to get as much money back from the government and put it into the pockets of hardworking Americans.
Daggum.
The daggum part at the end. That's the best part. That's the best part.
That government takes all of our stuff hits close to home today.
I love that.
Hey,
dude, I got a rant about that. I need to call BW Tax because my accountant was the worst experience I've ever had working with an accountant. They messed up my stuff. Like I sent my forms in, then like the day before tax day. No, I think on tax day, they're like, hey, we switched our software. It doesn't look like you uploaded this to the right thing. I'm like, can you just get the ones I did upload? They're like, no. And so I had to file an extension, still paid my estimated tax. Long story short, I got to call BW.
I mean, they did Trey's taxes, got them in, and got them out.
They will next year.
They will.
Oh my goodness. I went to a place. We'll just say the initials are
Hotel California.
Headache and regret block. And
Say it ain't so.
Here's the problem with Headache and regret block is they're not a smaller business.
They don't answer the phone.
And they're not warm bodies. And they're not trying to keep the money for hardworking Americans in the pockets of hardworking Americans.
No.
They're trying to keep
that's not their bread and butter.
And the government's just making red tape and making this difficult. But it's April 16th. If you haven't filed your taxes, number one, you're screwed. But number two, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't wait a year. I'd call BW Tax right now. LLC.com. Get a real person on the phone.
And they'll answer.
They'll answer. So
we should have just done this. We should have done this yesterday and just everyone just filed their taxes individually.
Live.
And just live.
Go around the circle.
Yeah, live. Trey, how much money did you make this year? How much has Sam been holding on to? All right, here's your return.
Oh my gosh.
We should do a live Q&A with BW Tax. You can
Dude, I would love that.
You can ask your tax questions.
Dude, he has to be a guest.
Yeah, I already talked to him about it today. I was like, hey, you got to come on the pod. And then he was kind of going over, he is a small business. So like we talk shop and he's like, this is how many clients I had last year. This is how many tax returns I did this year. This is how many are new clients. This is how many are new clients from, Google searches. How many are from this? And I was like, how many are from the OK podcast? And he was like, you guys seem to talk a lot about us and everyone seems to want to use me, but no one's called and said, okay. And so if you call BW Tax, like I know a lot of you guys have done, just say, okay, on the phone and
let them know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's a slow build.
But as a good sponsor does, I got to post it up on Instagram. He tatted up 2 quick trips in the local area with OK Podcast stickers this week.
Love that.
If you got a quick trip in your town and you got an OK Podcast sticker, do your job, tag us. That's a thing. Because just like they do trade taxes, they get them in, they get them out. Quick Trip gets you in and gets you out. So the 2 companies hand in hand.
Not a sponsor could be.
Yeah, not a sponsor could be.
Damn.
Jeff, I'm drinking out of an SEC women's basketball tournament Greenville cup.
Did you make that yourself?
No. Women's basketball is really big now. I don't know if you know this. But no, this
drinking
is
out of a Strength Co mug.
Amen, brother.
One upped you, brother.
For the FDO downrange. Amen.
Wait, does everybody
next slide?
TurboTax not the way to go? I'm going to use BW Tax next year.
Dude,
I've always been a TurboTax guy.
So I always did TurboTax, and then for the longest time, Abby was like a 1099 employee, and
little different.
For this, like to save my marriage, I had to have somebody else do my taxes. Like I would be like, Abby, what does this mean?
That's what BW does. They save
I
marriages.
I do always feel like
That's their
I'm
bread and
doing it
butter.
wrong.
Yeah, well, it's like
I'm
TurboTax.
definitely going to get audited.
TurboTax almost makes it too easy. And you're like, there's no way. Like, I just clicked next. When there was a question I didn't know, I just said, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm still
Didn't
filing.
care. It's like, okay. They never circle back to it. You're like, wait, what about that one question? Like, do I owe like more? What's happening? Yeah.
Do you have
So
any,
this is the
forward stocks?
This is not a sponsored ad read, but I will say I always did TurboTax too. That was like kind of my dad's thing. We do your own taxes. You get ripped off if you go to a CPA. But then as soon as there was a little complexity,
Yeah.
it's like when you need a coach with lifting. It's like, hey, just squat 3 sets of 5, add weight. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I own this business. I'm a Marine. And then I have this income that comes in for a housing allowance that's not taxed. My Roth IRA is this. And so when I opened a business, that's when I started doing it. But the amount that they save you, it's like insane. And I mean, obviously use BW Tax, but I'm like, why wouldn't you hire an expert to do this thing for you? Because
It's a no-brainer.
none of us are tax experts.
No, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway.
Man, it's been a great tax talk today.
Hey, it is
That's
tax
That's the episode.
It's
All right,
April
guys.
16th.
That's the OK
okaypodcast.com.
Podcast. We come for your IRS tax code updates.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, that's kind of a good
Next
segue
slide.
you had there. You're talking about like if you got tax questions, or things get complicated, you go to BW Tax. But when things get complicated with lifting, it's good to talk to a coach. Trey, you got a question for our resident coach here?
Calhoun, get over here.
Are we skipping the?
Wait,
are we
you want
still
to update?
doing? Yeah, are we doing milk updates anymore, or is this just like?
Oh, I
Are we just giving up on Jordy?
Oh, we do have a milk.
We've
honestly,
given up
I
on
gave
Jordy.
We've
All
given
right.
up a little bit. No, I'm still like 183, but I did try raw milk for the first time. Have you guys ever had that?
Have I had raw milk? Do you follow me on
Sign a
Instagram? Have you followed me on Instagram?
Yeah.
Have I had raw milk? Is that
Yeah,
just
do
like
you
the
guys?
chunky kind?
I don't know. It's supposed to be chunky.
No, then
shouldn't be
I did not have raw milk then. I don't know what it was.
That was old milk.
I don't know what that was.
Buttermilk.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. Went to the Swamp Rabbit Cafe. Saw that. I was like, ooh,
Is it goat milk or
it is cow milk.
cow milk?
Yeah, I haven't taken the step.
Leche de vaca.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. A lot of flavor. Good stuff. I got a gallon of it.
So no update as far as like, hey, how Jordy's weight's going. It was just like, hey, I really like
bought
this milk.
I'm
I bought
183. I'm 183 and I'm a hippie now. Anyway,
I really like the milk.
I'm wearing Birkenstocks, the
Oh
whole
my
thing.
goodness. Well, hey,
do you guys want a carnivore update?
Yeah,
hey, you
absolutely.
quit, right?
Yeah, I'm not carnivore,
Good update.
but I need to be.
Yeah.
Did you gain weight?
Yeah, I gained like 5 pounds in California.
Nice.
I probably lost 4 today. But yeah,
Did you get a burrito?
Well, I don't need to.
When in
When you
Rome.
go and you stay with your mother-in-law, it's like every time she looks at you, she's just like, here's 8 tacos.
Yeah.
And then you eat all 8 and you're like, man, I really
Grant,
only
you're
wanted
too
4,
skinny.
but
Yeah.
I ate 8 to make her happy. And then she's like, mas, dos mas.
See?
Sí, por favor.
You have to say C.
So, yeah, I gained a little weight in California, but that's okay.
Hey, that's what vacation's
Okay.
for, man. All right.
Okay.
Should we hop into it?
Next
Yeah.
slide.
Hey, I'm going to just go on a limb here. I say this is now sponsored by Strength Co Slack channel.
Ooh, I love it.
Ooh.
You got questions? Hop on
Yeah.
the Slack. Ask Grant.
Hop on the Slack. Yeah, we're starting that this week. Trey's going to be the moderator. It's going to be the OK Podcast channel on Slack. You got a lifting question and you're upset that when you ask it on Slack that Grant bot answers it or you don't like the
Wingbot.
answer, then you just reply back and say, no, I want Grant to answer this on the OK Podcast. And then you tag Trey and then he'll send it to Jeff and we'll try to make it as bureaucratic as possible.
Yeah.
And then we'll answer your question.
I like
Freaking
Yeah.
Wingbot, dude.
Yeah, Wingbot.
Trying to leave.
love
Pull me back in.
Wingbot's got you, baby.
We got bots. I mean, real quick, if we're sponsored by a Slack channel, what people don't get is if you are on the Slack channel, you also get Chat GPT-4 with your membership. Like that's what GrantBot is. So rather than go pay something to write your college essay, hire a programmed version of AI that understands the importance of milk, how to warm up for the deadlift, and all these great things.
A very specific college paper.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I
right.
failed my philosophy.
If you are majoring in kinesiology, call grandpa.
you
majoring in
got it
anything else,
made.
You're screwed.
Philosophy, you're screwed. So let's do it. I'll do a lifting update, man. So I hit, I think I sent you a
500
video.
for 5.
Hit 500 for 5. I feel like that's my goal. I think I'm going to stop.
Oh, you
stop
already
at
achieved
500.
it.
Yeah, I achieved it. I'm done lifting.
Okay.
I did. I sent it to Jeff. I did 415 for 5, 3 sets of 5 on
Deadlift, squat. Okay.
And then, man, dude, I was benching and like, my shoulders just like gave out. And so I don't know if it was from the squat or whatever it was. So I'm kind of on a little hiatus with bench. I was doing 3 sets of 5 on 300 for that. So, but
what do you mean by gave out?
so I was in the process of warming up I was going to go in for 305. And then like I did like 225 and it was just like going down like front of shoulder, going down the arm. It's just like, I couldn't.
From the squat. If it's going down the arm, it's like,
Yeah.
Was that right after you squatted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done some like light squats, body weight squats, kind of just keep moving, but I've kind of trying to keep from doing the, low bar back squat for like a day or two.
You say close grip feels okay?
Close grip bench feels fine. Yeah. No, that's not my question. You ready for the question?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Brought to you by Slack.
Ready.
Dude, so I feel like, we talk about eating a lot, right? Talk about carnivore milk and like your diet. We talk about like lifting techniques. I think like a big component that I don't know if you get asked about a lot, but I feel like we skip over a lot is like sleep.
Yeah.
Like how important sleep is to doing it. I guess the question is like, if you have a bad session, like if you got a bad like night rest the night before, like how much does that affect it? Or some tips for getting good sleep? I don't know. Take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think sleep is, we have one video we've done on it that actually did pretty well, but I think sleep is, okay, what's funny is a lot of times in starting strength, they push caloric intake. It's like, hey, I want to keep making progress. I'll just eat more. Whereas, and then people gain weight. They gain belly fat, whatever, they get fat. And they're like, hey, well, starting strength made me fat because I was eating all this food because I was told to eat all this food. And it's like, well, yeah, calories do solve a lot of problems for you, but what are things that you can fix, right? And so sleep is huge. I mean, obviously you have to eat and you have to have calories coming in like over the long term. I'm also proponent of fasting, but like you have to eat to some extent. But I think sleep is probably your biggest recovery variable that people miss the most on. I mean, my big sleep takeaways that I think are like doable, like, I could go full Huberman on you and be like, like turn on the red light, don't watch TV, read philosophy, Marcus Aurelius, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's like, hey, I'm not a robot. I'm a person, right? Like tonight, I'm on a podcast. I'm going to finish podcasting at 10:30 PM. I'm going to be all amped up. Like, I can't just go lay down and fall asleep. So I think a blacked out room is probably like my number one tip. And if you can't do a blacked out room, like my wife and I live in an apartment, it's lofted. There's skylights, so I can't. So I bought like a sleep mask. Like I looked at my dad and I was like, oh, my dad was onto something. So like I have like a weighted sleep mask that completely blacks things out. So blacking that stuff out. I do think phones, I'm not a proponent if they need to be in the next room because I feel like we're adults and should have some self-control. But like you need to realize like, hey, if I wake up in the middle of the night and it's 3 a.m., the phone is not the thing I should look at to find out that it's 3 a.m. Because you look at your phone and accidentally, I have 6 Instagram messages. Someone's tweeting at me. Like I have an email. And then all of a sudden, like your brain kicks into overdrive. So I'm like a big, like I keep my phone in my room, but I put it on sleep mode. And then like I light up my watch if I wake up and want to see what time it is. And I think it's like less aggressive on the eyes, but I think like blacking out the room and then not looking at the phone is huge. I mean, there's some like science out there saying if the room's cold, where you need blankets, you're supposed to sleep better. But I think those two things are like probably the biggest things. And I use a white noise, but I think that's a Grant thing. I just I literally take my phone every single night. I type in YouTube live rain, and there's like a live broadcast from Japan of rain falling. And I put it on Do Not Disturb, and I set it down like slightly under my bed. I know exactly what volume setting it needs to be on, and I go to sleep.
It has to be Japanese rain though.
Yeah.
It has to be Japanese rain.
That Chinese
rain's,
crap.
Yeah. American rain's all over the map. You need Japanese rain, light, soft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Respectful. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, sleep is to like a very short, succinct answer. Yes, we don't talk about sleep enough. And I do think that is a huge example. I got on the plane, John Wayne Airport last night, 9:45 p.m., landed in Charlotte with the time change, 4:15 a.m. Drove here. I probably slept an hour and a half on the plane, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
4-hour flight. Drive home, get home, feed the cat, do a couple things, go get in bed, put on my night stuff. Maybe I sleep another hour and a half. I'm supposed to deadlift today. I'm supposed to deadlift and bench and do pull-ups. And I walk into the gym and I'm just like, man, I have like 4 hours, maybe 5 logged of the worst sleep I could possibly have.
Yeah.
I am going to deadlift. I was supposed to do 480. I did 455 and I did 3 sets total. And then I was like, I'm not doing anything else. Like I'm totally fried. I'm exhausted. So going in and realizing like, hey, this important recovery element, I did none of it. I'm going to adjust is another thing that's good to think about.
So if you have someone doing like their 1 rep backs, like, would you just like, hey, a couple days before, including night before, like super strict, get to bed, like what, 8 hours?
Yeah. I mean, that's such a tough thing. It's such a tough thing as the coach. Like it's better to say on YouTube for people that are trying to like fix things themselves and fine actually, because the person in the gym, like I can tell you to eat this much protein and not eat these fats and not drink beer and not do these things, but they do them anyway. Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, that is the advice I would give. But it's, the ultimate human behavior of like how people act at home and what they end up doing is like I can only influence you when you're on the platform in front of me. Like everything you did outside the gym, like I can make recommendations.
Yeah. So you would just say like, put it as the same priority as a diet and consistency in the gym.
Yeah.
Sleep is up.
I'd probably put consistency in the gym, sleep second, diet third. Is actually probably how I'd rank them.
How's your sleep?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It depends on the night, man.
Yeah.
Depends how much work I got to do. So
yeah. No, I get it.
The mortgage takes priority over sleep. You know what I mean?
I understand that. Well, that's the whole problem right there. People, have actual other life obligations other than going to the gym.
But I have like tried to do like quit drinking caffeine, like at noon, like don't have any caffeine past noon.
Oh,
and do you find that helps?
Yeah. For me, it does.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's where I'm with people that are trying to make adjustments. I'm like, hey, try this. Oh, that actually helps. Then you need to do it. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule that you can make for people. And I understand like everyone's got to work. People have stuff to do. Like when it's a drill weekend, Jeff can speak to this. Like you go to drill and like you're 100% turned on Marine Corps. Great. Sunday night, you finish, you go to the airport and you're like, everything I usually do for the last 72 hours for my job, I have not done.
Yeah.
So now it has to get done. I'm like, well, how do I get this done? I'm going to sleep less. But I also, if you take that into this is where people mess up is they're like, well, last Monday I squatted 415. So this Monday I'm supposed to squat 420, but over the 3 days before it, whether it's marine drill or something happened where like you didn't sleep, everything was bad. You were busy. Like you have to go in with expectations of realizing like, hey, I'm going into the session. Everything's not an equal playing table.
Yeah.
That's the part where people mess up. They're like, I failed. My program sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
there's so many other variables.
There's so many other variables. Yeah, exactly.
I always felt Jeff, you were super strict on getting to bed early. I always thought,
I feel like
you're
especially like
disciplined.
In the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, like between like 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. I'm like, all right, let's shut it down. And my big thing is like temperature. It's like it's got to be a little cooler. If it's like a warm like house or warm room or warm hotel room in Texas with the smoking vape right outside, I cannot sleep like
what,
that.
What, you mean like where
thing.
the Holiday Inn Express AC cuts on every 30 minutes and it sounds like a train?
Yeah. And it cranks up to, it tries to get the room down to like 45 degrees and then it shuts off for an hour and then cranks
till
back.
It's 80.
Yeah. You keep it on 69?
Of course.
Nice.
What a dumb joke.
And I've seen some articles. I've seen some articles coming out like where they're talking about how like consistency in like, kind of like bedtime and wake time are like really are super important and like less so in between. Like you'll get the quality sleep you get. It's just kind of a thing that happens. And they're saying that like, okay, like those consistent like wake times and sleep time or like, kind of going to bed times are kind of like becoming super important or appearing to be super important as far as like your actual like sleep consistency.
I mean, I think it's kind of like the same thing in the like
consistency.
It's right? Like it's
in everything.
It's so cliche, but it's like, hey, if you go to the gym regularly, you'll see results. If like not enough rest is impacting your life and your, recovery in the gym, then if you consistently like go to bed a little bit earlier, of course it's better, but sleep's a tough thing because people got stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
And it's when they lay down at night is when like, the mind can race and all. I mean, like for me, I'll finish podcast tonight and I will watch something on TV for 30 minutes. That's what like slows me down and tunes me out. And then I'll turn the TV off and I'll walk upstairs and I'll put on my sleep mask and turn on the Japanese rain and I'll fall right to sleep. Whereas like some people would be like, hey, don't watch TV within an hour. But for me, that's like my unplug from my brain's been going. And so, it's not the same for everyone.
Are you a big nap guy?
No.
Seriously?
I mean, I'm not anti-nap, but I
sounds like you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you hate naps.
Yeah, those nappers.
That was an emphatic no you said earlier.
No, I just meant what I meant was I don't nap.
Oh, okay.
I'm not against it, but I don't know how. Yeah, that would be
tough. Yeah. You have to be talented. I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
I was in the Marine Corps, man.
Siesta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Marine Corps, I was super talented, just like sitting in the Humvee, just like falling asleep like that, man.
Oh my gosh. When I would ride in a Humvee, nothing would put me out faster than like 2 minutes into an armored Humvee. We were kind of like crammed in there. It's like kind of warm. It's like you're kind of shaking a little, vibrating a little bit because of the vehicle. And I'm just like,
your Kevlar meets your flak. It's just
dude. And I would just be out every time. Didn't matter how much like caffeine I'd had. If I was like had nicotine, like it would just put me out immediately.
I feel like that's not a fair, like when you're on a field op though, you're not sleeping at all. So like, of course you sleep at noon because you did ops till, I'm not taking away from it, but like, I'm with you. Yes. In the Marine Corps, I napped. It's like,
it's just going back to sleep.
I'm a convoy commander and the corporal's intelligent. Take me to Lead Mountain.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm going to take a nap and take all the credit for getting us there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't trying to fall asleep.
Lieutenant Broggi never got lost. That's because he never led a convoy. Just always picked a smart driver.
Yeah. That was the best. Corporal Juarez in 29 Palms. He'd be like,
amen,
where are we going? I'm like, oh, we're going here. Like, I know how to get there. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Every like horror story was like, yeah, we got the convoy lost for 9 hours and 29 Palms in the Quackenbush.
What happened? The lieutenant actually tried to lead the way. All right.
Hell
I feel like we beat up sleep. Next slide.
Yeah, we got to get into our weekly liberal grant women's sports update. So we're talking about WMBA Draft.
Oh yeah, the draft. I was about to say it's over.
So funny you bring that up. I technically did not go into so I was in California for a week. I did not go there thinking like, oh, this weekend's the WMBA draft. Like I had no. I mean,
I didn't realize it either.
Probably knew, but I didn't realize. But then I started seeing it, and I was interested. And I'm like, oh, Angel Reese is going as the same team as Carmelo Cardozo, Chicago. Caitlin Clark gets the first round or first pick. And then Caitlin Clark's teammate was there to cheer on Caitlin Clark and was like in the crowd and got drafted and wasn't there to be drafted.
So you were like really into it.
No, so I didn't watch it live. This was all just like things popping up on my feed. But I said to Diana, I was like, is this just because like we've been talking about the OK Pod and like the Gamecocks won, we live in South Carolina, or is it actually getting bigger? Or is it actually getting, and she was like, it's actually, she was saying it actually is getting bigger. And I think it's a little bit of both. But yeah, I mean, I was even thinking, I was looking at it and I was like, wait, so this team picked and they picked like, how many women's teams are there? And I think there's only
14.
There's 14. Okay. I was going to say 12. Yeah. So like, it's not many though.
No, I was surprised.
I mean, it's more, but I was like, whoa, there's like, this is a very small league. I was also surprised how little Caitlin Clark got paid.
So 5 figures.
Oh, dude.
But
so I saw
over 4 years.
No. Oh, it's so 4 figures.
It's terrible.
she's
like $83,000 a year.
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah,
that's why those players would go to Russia. Like,
but I mean,
they're like,
I guess
we want to get
I would
real money.
Well, she did 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're a junior, don't you make more money like riding Texas A&M laurels, like riding Gamecock Nation, Tennessee Volunteers, dare I say War Eagle? Like, but seriously, like,
or Damn Eagle.
Don't you make more money in the NIL? Because here's the best women's player apparently ever to come out. And I was like, wow, you're making $85,000 a year. Like maybe you should go work for Hate and Disrespect Block or whatever you call it. Hate and Regret.
Yeah.
Headache.
Yeah.
Headache and regret.
Hate and Disrespect. Headache and regret. Yeah.
And I saw my buddy tweeted. So how old's the WNBA? Jordan,
I have no idea.
PJ, give it a goog.
I know it's not
for Google.
Let's get some guesses. I want to hear some guesses on this.
1991.
I'm going to go like early 2000s. I'm going to go 2003.
I'm going to say 98.
97.
Go
Jets. I had a little bit of an inkling because I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I was like, man, I feel like they're kind of disrespecting Candace Parker and the hype that was around her when she was coming out of Tennessee. Cause like,
yeah.
And then I looked and I was like, all right, like how many players had dunked in the NBA before her? And it was like 2. And like, I was like, oh, Lisa Leslie did the first dunk in the WNBA in 2002. So I was like, all right, she was probably in the league for a few years.
Quick edit. It was founded in 96 actually, but the first game was in 97.
Gotcha.
Important distinction.
I don't know. My buddy had a tweet. It's like, so what is it?
Is this me?
No.
Oh, you have other friends on X.
Wait,
I've one other friend. Yeah.
Okay.
One
So
other
it's Jordy.
friend. Yeah. It's either you or Jordy. But they tweeted, it's like, hey, when the NBA was the same age as the WNBA is now, like those guys in the off season, like they had to get a second job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, so it's still like a relatively new, kind of like what you're talking about, Grant. It's like still a relatively new league. So it's still kind of getting its feet. It's not where the NBA is now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. That was interesting.
Rant.
I don't think I'll watch a WNBA game though.
I don't think so
I'll
either.
probably still up. I won't watch an NBA game. So
yeah,
True.
I'll watch an NBA game. Playoffs coming up, but I don't think I'll watch a game. But yeah, it's cool to see the players get drafted.
I guess that's why she's not getting paid.
Yeah, I guess that's
WNBA not going to be a sponsor after that. I don't know.
Yeah,
no, they can't afford us.
But the college basketball women, come on in.
They can afford us.
I mean, prices are going up.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong, Jordy.
That was kind of a perfect segue, actually. One of the points that I wanted to talk like was kind of along that NBA thing. Like, I don't watch the NBA. Like, I kind of follow a little bit. I know who some of the good players are, but I like stumbled onto this LeBron James and JJ Redick like podcast that they just started doing.
Oh, I've seen some clips.
Dude, it is so good. Like they're like breaking down things like really kind of like X's and O's and like talking about just kind of like NBA culture and stuff like that. So it's like really like in like the detail in the weeds, as they say.
So you would say that the cameras are in the locker rooms.
Basically, yeah.
So, I think it's interesting. I haven't seen that one, but just in general.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Oh, so Jeff has a father gave birth to Jeff.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Loves old baseball cords.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Loves old sports, loves old cars, Navy officer. And he would always say when after the game was over, when the cameras started going in the locker room, get those cameras out of the locker room. That's not his voice.
They don't need to be in there.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to see that. That's for them. That's for the coaches.
Why are the cameras in the locker room? That's for the players. And so Jeff and I will always send each other, like, whenever there's a locker room video, like, of any sport for the last 10 years, I just send it to Jeff, all caps, get those cameras out of the locker room, okay? So that's what that means. Little anecdote.
Great. Not everyone's on the inside joke. I love it.
Yeah, sorry. But now they are.
Yeah, now
so I recommend, Mind the Game. And it's definitely better the video version on YouTube, because they'll like show clips and they'll talk about like, this is what's happening in this play and this is this read.
There's a little B-roll on there. I'm looking at it right now. LeBron drinking red wine.
Oh yeah, there's JJ Redick's super, like, I don't know, he's good at breaking stuff down. He's had
both of them are great in front of the camera, man.
Dude, they're good.
Yeah, like
it's good. And I'm not really a basketball guy, but
I would quickly tell the listeners, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out. Check it out on YouTube. Jeff's usually drinking out of a Strengco coffee mug. You're missing out if you're not watching this. There's cats. Yeah. There's Trey. Yeah. B-U.
Usually here.
E. Yeah. Big E. But yeah, all right. So I'll check it out. LeBronJamesPodcast.com. Potential sponsor.
I think he uses BW Tax also. They sponsor that podcast.
Oh,
as well.
yeah. They're all over. I mean, they're coming out with coffee mugs, t-shirts, you name it.
Actually, I have seen podcasts sponsor other podcasts. Have you ever seen that? An ad for a podcast in a podcast? It's been done. So LeBron,
hey,
give us a call.
Hit us
We're
up.
open.
He's one of our 5 listeners.
That's right.
Gotta be.
I like it.
So quick shout out to the listeners before I let Jeff go to the next slide. This week in particular, I got probably about, I'll say 10 between. So one, Instagram OK Podcast is funny. The people that follow it there, they send me women's basketball stuff. And they're like, I've always kind of been interested in this. And then I listen to your podcast and now I follow it. It's like, that's cool. But I've also had people text me, Marines that we've served with that I haven't heard from in a while, different people. And they're like, hey, I'm really enjoying the OK Podcast. People that went to my dad's church growing up, people that I thought like would never listen. And I guess the internet's cool and it's getting out there. But if you've been listening, we appreciate it. And the feedback is awesome.
Nice.
Lieutenant Colonel Dan O'Connell, like, immediately messaged when I kind of like sneak peek Jim DeNofon, like, can't wait to listen to this episode. Then he sent me like a breakdown of how cool Jim was and, different stuff. And so, yeah, been getting some feedback lately, which is cool. So if you've been listening, thanks for listening. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe. If you haven't left a comment, liked it 5 stars on Spotify, go do all that stuff. But
we appreciate both of y'all.
I don't, not to build Trey's ego up, but Trey's definitely more than 5.
Yeah.
It's like 500.
Dang.
A smooth does it. Yeah.
Yeah. Baker's doesn't.
Love it. Baker's doesn't.
Next year in the women's college basketball games, in the center of the court instead of the logo,
oh man,
it's just going to be the OK Podcast
okay.
logo. Yeah. Make it happen. We'll make it happen.
That'd be sick.
I could see it.
I could too.
Can't wait for next year.
I'll at least meme it.
Paid for by BW Tech. Let's just take a break until next year's season. All right, next slide.
Okay. Let's do you want to stick with sports talk? We got a few more sports topics, or are we thinking
ain't broke, don't fix it?
Love it. Transfer portal, right? Just open back up.
Sorry, I've been watching.
I believe
it's either about basketball.
I think it's about to.
Grant's like, I don't even know. I don't follow college football. Can you explain this to me?
I've seen a lot of people like there's been a couple A&M players who've like entered their name in the portal.
I saw a headline that was like several linemen from Colorado have entered the portal. So it's like, Dion, Coach Prime, what's going on?
No longer prime time.
They'll pick some other people up in the shuffle.
So it's open now. In all seriousness, is it open right now?
I believe it is.
Or about to be. Yeah, like today or tomorrow. I think it opened today.
I don't know. I guess the question I had, because I think I posted that. I think the question I had is one, like, do you like the transfer portal to some degree? Like, do you think it needs to be part of it?
I'll let Jeff the purist answer this first.
I'm kind of split on it. I think it needs to get tweaked somehow. I think in its current like format, it's too Wild West and people are bouncing around all over the place. So it does create this ability to kind of overhaul your team like very quickly, and can put a team on the map super quick. Yeah. Or completely ruin your team in a heartbeat. Something needs to get tightened up. It needs to be, maybe it needs to be one transfer portal, or it needs to, I don't like the timing.
I think
the timing of it.
Like if you transfer like a 2-year commitment, something like that,
or sign with the team, like a incoming freshman signing.
Oh, signing and staying with.
Let's say you're coming out of high school, you got to stay until your sophomore.
Right.
Something like that.
I think something like that, so that basically you can move maybe once in your college career, but not every season. You know, like Juice Wells, Gamecocks running back, just quit halfway through the season because he's like, "Oh, we're not going to win." Stop playing. Claimed he had a foot injury. Some Gamecock fans may hate my take on this, and then just transfers out, goes to play for Lane Kiffin, or I think that's where he went. But he has all the power, and it's like, well, how is a coach supposed to like build a team and work with what he's got? So I think some type of commitment it would be good. I think the idea of being able to transfer is good, but
I like when a coach leaves being able to transfer. I think I kind of like that rule.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
If you got recruited,
I think that makes sense. I guess the other thing, I was like thinking about it. I was just driving around today. It was like what I would.
I was thinking about my doorbell. You were thinking about the transfer.
I was thinking about college football. Is
when you're gonna ring it?
Early, like one thing that always bothers me is early signing period in December, and then the regular signing period in February. Right?
Yeah,
it just makes no sense to me. I kind of want them to move early signing period to like August.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So move it to August, and then you have your regular signing period. So if you're like committed before high school football starts, you can like sign with the team. And if you're like, hey, this is where I want to go. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was one thing. And then I would like to see some sort of like, if you tie like an NIL contract, like, hey, graduation, if you graduate or if you play in the bowl game, then you get your NIL. You know what I mean?
Like incentive kind of thing.
Yeah, I would like to see more. Yeah. Maybe it is. I just haven't seen it, but
yeah, this whole NIL thing definitely complicates it, because then there's players that'll be like, all right, well, I signed with this school or transferred here, got my NIL deal. Oh, and now I had a good season. Oh, I can go over to this school and get a bigger NIL deal. Oh, I'm going to go do that. So it's like, NIL has, and this transfer portal, it's like a perfect storm.
I want to hit up Raven Crockpot Johnson and have her on the podcast. And I'm like, I'm going to hit her up. I was going to wait for the championship, fan.
Yeah, give her some time to recover. Down. Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to hit her up. She's going to be like, this is my agent. Do you want to sign a deal to have me on the podcast? I'm like, well, no, you're like a college athlete. Like, she just come on. I mean, she'll probably just come on, obviously.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, she's probably going to be like, oh, all inquiries go to Buege at gmail.com.
Yeah. NIL collective or whatever.
Yeah. Big government.
Interesting. I don't know.
Capitalist.
Something's got to change. I agree with Jeff on that. It is kind of the Wild West. So
and I think it will, because this is all just, it's also super new. I feel people are just like, what's happening, and kind of seeing the good and the bad. So I think something will, the quick and
Clint
the
Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, 93. Someone tweeted, probably one of Trey's friends, because he's so big on X. Who is this? And it was a photo of Clint Eastwood. And I immediately was like, oh, it's Clint Eastwood. And he did look much more decrepit. And it was a very bad photo. But then I was like, wait, how old is Clint Eastwood? Did you guys realize he's 93?
90.
Yeah, I knew.
Like, when did Gran Torino come out?
I was in high school.
Oh, gosh.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
So it's been like 15, 20 years, PJ?
2006.
Like
I'm going to go 06.
Ooh.
I feel like that just came out.
No, you just saw it. That's the
that
difference.
can't
Yeah.
They just
I think
had it
it's-
on Netflix.
I think it's 2011.
Okay.
2008.
2008.
That was close.
Closer to Trey. So I guess that is coming up on, so it's 16 years ago. 16 years ago. 93 minus 16, homeschool mass. Well, 93 minus 10 would be 83. 83 minus 6 would be 77.
Wow.
I guess that
Verified.
checks out. I guess that
Hot,
checks out.
hot take. Clint Eastwood, I like him better as a director than an actor. Dude,
Gone Baby Gone. Is that what's making you say that?
I just, all of his movies he's directed are much
No,
better
not
than
that. What's the female boxer? What's the female boxer? Sorry, big Boston guy over here.
That went
Gone
over-
Baby
I was
Gone.
like,
I knew what you were talking about too.
I did too.
What's it
It's
called?
the boxing
Go-
one.
Go Baby Go.
Uh,
Something Baby. Baby
No,
Millionaire.
no,
Now
wait,
in
hold
my
on, I
head
had to
it's-
think of it. Don't look it up, PJ.
It's
Don't
only
look it
God
up.
Baby
Let
God.
us struggle.
What is it? It's
From
$1 million
here on forward.
baby.
Gone Baby Gone. $1 million
Gone Baby Gone.
Baby. Same,
Change the
same.
title.
What?
Change the
Same,
title.
same.
Gone Baby
I had Baby
Gone.
right.
Gone Baby Gone. Good. I like that movie a
Good
lot.
movie. Yeah.
I
good
like
movie.
Casey Affleck a lot.
Baby
Yeah.
God.
$1 Million Baby. I got the
Sad
baby
part is we
part
all
right.
knew what he was talking about.
I know. You're like,
Yeah. Anyway, Clint Eastwood baby movie.
Yeah. Better director
I
than
don't know.
actor.
Have you ever gone back and watched like Dirty Harry?
He's the same. He's the same character.
But don't you love that?
I guess it depends on like the movie I'm watching.
I don't know. His old movies I think are like awesome.
Heartbreak Ridge, awesome.
Yeah. But
Dirty Harry. I don't know if I've seen Dirty Harry movies.
ooh,
Like I
so great.
should.
Big long Colt 45. Trey's right. They're all the same movie. But they're good.
He's the same character.
It's the same guy.
There's one except
There's
for the one.
there's a lot of actors like that though, where they always play the same thing. Like The Rock is always the same. Jackie Chan
Yep.
was always the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Traffic.
Whoa.
Traffic.
Don't
I'm
bad
looking
mouth
for my
Jackie
chapstick.
I say that as a compliment. Jackie
know.
Chan's the man.
Dude, I used to to Jackie Chan.
All right,
movies.
Rush Hour is a great movie.
Dude.
Can't
all
you
the, like,
understand
the
the words
outtakes.
coming out of my mouth?
Dude.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Tucker. Yeah. Have you
Now
seen
the
those,
Rock-
Grant?
I've seen the original Rush Hour. I haven't seen like Rush Hour 2 or anything.
Or 3? Okay.
Or 3. What's the movie
2 was okay.
with the roundhouse kick to the face that the guy that everyone likes from
Chuck Norris?
Is
no,
it-
Yeah,
is it-
no.
Gone, baby,
Roadhouse?
gone.
Yeah, no. Roadhouse. There's a new Roadhouse.
Apparently, it's terrible.
I
haven't
watched
seen
it.
Oh, really?
I watched
I haven't
it.
seen it. Is it bad?
Yeah, it's not great.
I like Jake
What's that
Gyllenhaal.
actor's name?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's the
Conor
one from the
McGregor.
southern
Oh, yeah. Conor McGregor's in it.
from the southern
He's
movie, right?
jacked.
From
What's
the
the
Southern movie.
Southern
Hold on,
movie?
no one say anything. Let's figure this out.
It's a man and a woman. It's like a love
Notebook?
story. The Notebook. Same
Ryan
guy.
No.
Gosling.
No.
Oh, different.
Southern movie.
And honestly, that was the first movie that popped in my head. It's like, oh, you're talking about The Notebook.
You're welcome.
Only Jeff
Gone with the Wind.
pulls. This is
I
the,
was
this is
gonna
the show
say-
now.
I was
Grant
gonna say.
says obscure movie title, and we guess.
I was gonna say Gone with the Wind, but I knew that wasn't it. So I said the Southern movie. And I knew Jeff would
Southern
do what I
movie.
was talking. It is a Southern movie. Yeah. Anyway.
You guys think
Is
Connor's
it?
on the juice?
Yeah,
It
100%.
looks like it. I mean,
Yeah. Man, he looks great.
I will say this:
it looks so good.
if you go into that movie with very low expectations, then
Are we
you'll
still
walk
talking about
out.
the Notebook or Gone with the
No.
Wind?
It's the prequel to the Notebook, Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
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 The other
The
Southern
remake of
movie.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Dude, the
If you go
original
in with low
Roadhouse is
expectations,
fantastic.
it's a good movie. Yeah, the original one's great,
You know why?
So
Because there's cool cars in it.
and they're pulling out throats.
Yep.
I just
That part.
I just watched Oppenheimer for the first time. You
Oh,
guys
what you
seen that?
think?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It's
So
like
good.
it's like a good breakdown of that whole moral conundrum. I thought it was
Dude.
good.
Yeah, I rewatched that. What was it? I don't know, last month on a plane.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, this is good. This is a really good one. Because I rewatched Tenet.
It's
and
good.
I was like, oh, I don't think,
Dude, I
don't
love
think
Tenet.
Tenet holds up. I don't know. For me,
I love
enjoy
Tenet. I thought it was great.
And I saw it twice in theaters. I thought it was really good, but when I rewatched it like now, I was like, oh, I don't know.
I'm a big fan of Denzel's kid. Whatever. What's his name?
He is really good.
Something Washington.
Denzel Jr.
Good pull, Grant.
He's not wrong.
Gonna go
He's
out
not
on a
wrong.
limb.
Something Washington.
George.
Next
George
slide.
Washington.
Next slide.
The only
Southern
guy that's
dude.
allowed. The only guy that's allowed to stand up in a boat. George Washington.
Speaking of rewatching, Trey, you were watching the Last Dance. What
Yeah.
sparked that rewatch? Just nostalgic about the Bulls?
No, it was just so it popped up on Netflix. I'm like, man, I remember it. So because that came out, I remember when it came out during COVID, right? And it's when everyone was kind of locked up, and it came out. And it was like, dude, I remember it being phenomenal. So I decided just to rewatch it again. And
Are you going to rewatch Tiger King?
I never watched the first time.
I kind of feel like the Tiger King right now.
Ooh, oh yeah. Oh, you
Oh,
should
with
watch
Cat
it.
there.
It's actually pretty good.
Calhoun just meowed into the mic.
Yeah, we
Whoa.
gotta pull that
New host.
for an ad.
But yeah, he says an ad read. But
wait,
no, dude. Have you seen it, Grant? Last
Tiger
Dance?
King? Last
No.
Dance? No.
It's good.
Netflix?
Yeah. Yes, Netflix.
Potential sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's good. I think Michael Jordan is a little bit psycho.
Oh, it's that. Oh, yep. I remember you putting it in the notes. No, I have not seen that, but I had no idea what you're talking about, but I have seen ads for it and stuff. And yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. So
I've
far, it's
definitely
like
seen memes pulled from it.
Yes.
Michael Jordan, a little bit crazy, but I guess that's why he's really good.
You have to be.
Yeah, I think so too. Scottie Pippen got like the worst deal in basketball ever.
Yeah.
And then
got hosed.
dude, Rodman is just a psycho.
I just did whatever he wanted.
I've met Dennis Rodman twice.
Really?
He lives in Orange County. He
tell.
goes to church about 80 feet from the Strenco Costa Mesa.
Oh shit.
And I met him once. He was pumping his own gas. And I was like,
Wow,
Man,
so
hey,
humble.
I was
So
like, hey, I know you're Dennis Rodman. So just going to say, hey. And he was like, what's up, man? He like hit me up. And then I saw him in a Sprouts, maybe a mile up down the road. And he was
Doing his
checking
own
out
shopping.
groceries.
Was he getting raw milk?
And the,
Wow.
the second time he was like, yo, Grant, how's that gym going?
That's a lie.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It was actually
He's like,
during,
have you seen that Southern movie?
He was like, okay.
It was kind of during the like Korea debacle, so I just kind of like I was like, "Hey, Mr. Rodman." He was like, "Ooh." But yeah,
How's North Korea? Yeah.
yeah, how's North Korea?
How's Kim?
Yeah, Kim Jong Un. We're
Kimmy.
trying to keep the politics out of this.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
I didn't start it.
the Japanese reign was as far as we were going to go.
I feel like Dennis Rodman transcends politics.
True.
Yeah, me
does.
too.
He
Like
does.
he's really good friends with the dictator of North Korea, and no one really cares.
Well, yeah, it wasn't even political. It's just his own thing. It was just going
It's
over
just
there.
he's like, yeah, I'm friends with them.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
vibe.
He loves basketball. I love basketball. You know, that's all we
Yeah,
talk about.
makes
is
sense.
basketball.
Incredible.
But
North
yeah,
Korea.
I don't know. So far, like I said, I'm halfway through it. I'm like, and I was just watching. I'm like, what a good documentary! Like the way they did it. I'm like, this is so cool.
Nice.
I'm a sucker also for sports documentaries.
Same. Dude,
Yeah.
Same here.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Let's see. Oh gosh, great! You moving back to California? Is that like? I mean, is it? Where do you put the
California.
chances at?
So you're saying there's a chance? That's from the Southern movie. No,
He's
I
talking
wouldn't
about
say
the
I'm
sequel to
about-
Dumb and Dumber, which
I
was
wouldn't say-
filmed in Marietta, Georgia.
That's right.
Nice.
Amen. No, I'm not moving back to California. I will say every time I go back, you know, God save the South, but not to get political. You can't believe everything you watch on Fox News. And if you've never spent any time on the coast of Southern California and you just think like, oh, Californians, liberals and politics, like it's pretty great.
No one can argue with the nature there. The natural beauty. No one can argue with that.
You can't up and down the entire coast, which is the same distance as the entire East Coast. Like you can't beat it. Now, I would make the argument if you live in the IE, you're 2 hours inland. I'd probably live in Arizona instead than Jurupa Valley, but
for real.
but the coast is cool, and the food it's great, and not just the tacos. Like we had hot pot the last night before we left, and there's a hot pot place we go here, and it's good. But then like you eat it there, like, oh man, this is like so much better, right? Like, there's a lot of unique food. But yeah, it was nice. And like the weather everyone's like, oh, the weather. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually better than anywhere I've ever been. Like, it's sunny, like the sky's wide open.
Who says the weather's bad in California?
No, I mean, they say like, oh, you just live there for the weather. Like how good can nice weather be? Oh, and it's like, well,
it's pretty nice.
When it's always nice, it's pretty amazing.
Like, something that you deal with on a daily basis is the weather.
Yeah. You don't deal with it there. So no, I've no plans to move back, but definitely every time I go back, I'm like, this is not so bad. Yeah. But then like you just like hop on Redfin for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, if I was going to have a house with 2 children, what could I buy?
Nothing.
Half a shoebox.
God save the South. That's what you said.
Guess I got to move to the IE. But yeah, I had a good time. I went and saw Matios, previous guest.
Love it.
Yeah, we went in Colton, California, and we went to Las Glorias Tortas.
How's the class out there? I saw you. Didn't you give a class?
Yeah, class went well. It was sold out. That was good. Malia, who works for the Strength Co, who this podcast is powered for, got married. Went to her wedding. That was fun on the beach. Very Californian. Like I wore flip flops and I was overdressed. Like most people didn't have shoes on. Matios came to the reception uninvited, which was pretty cool. Her husband was like, "Who is this guy?" And Malia was like, "Oh, he knows Grant." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you're good. Come on in." But no, California. And shout out to the IE and Matios, who listens to every episode.
Potential sponsor.
Yeah, I'm still your Riverside, but yeah. No, I have no plans to move back, but I'm not against it.
Ooh. Saying there's a chance.
Well, so we had a meetup. We had a meetup with our Zoom lifters, 5 of them. From Georgia, 1 from Ventura by way of Tennessee, 1 in Orange County. So 4 total. We met up. I've trained them all on Zoom. 2 I've met in person, but like only once. 1 I'd never met. And the one from Georgia is the one I never met, which is funny because he lives like right down the road from your parents.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah. And Jeff? Jeff. And he was like, Yeoman podcast, if you haven't listened to it, but he was like, oh, look at this.
Ooh, I was wondering when this was going. Calhoun, what you?
I've been waiting for this moment. This is Waylon. Like the Jennings.
Don't you think this outlaw's done got out of hand?
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's 4 to 5 weeks. Our friends, actually BW tax owner's mother-in-law's neighbor, 3 times removed in section.
Wow. So just a person that you met.
Yeah, just a person. Found him in the woods and they were like, "Do you guys want him?" And I was like, "Say less." So we'll just let him hang out. But anyway, to close up the loop on Jeff, he came and he was like, he comes to Orange County, comes to the gym. I take him to a prime rib spot. We all hang out, has a great time, goes to the beach, Newport Beach next morning, goes down to San Diego, takes the train out of Irvine, has like a couple business meeting, flies up to Eureka because he's like starting a business for like growing trees and just drops all these photos in Slack. And he's like, "So California, pretty cool." And everyone was like, "Yeah, it sucks, right?" So yeah, it was good to see him.
Yeah, it sucks.
California, underrated.
Underrated.
You pay for it, but it's, I don't know. It's nice.
Spot.
You get what
great
you pay
spot
for.
To visit. That's what I was
It's pretty great when the government's basically paying you to live there. That's true. That's the way to 100%. Do it.
Risk your life, but you know.
Oh man.
Oh, worth it.
Worth it. Yeah, that was like the last was like the morning or like the night before, like moving out to Salt Lake and doing that drive. It was like driving up to PCH, and it was like the perfect sunset. And I was like, oh,
what am
I'm
I
leaving
doing?
this, huh?
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And then we rolled into Salt Lake, and there's like snow all in the mountains, and I was like, oh, okay, this is good. So,
yeah, it's different. It's yeah. I think what's interesting about California, and this is a feature, not bug, but it's always the same. You can always drive the PCH. You can visit in July. You can visit in October. You can visit in January, and it's like sunny and awesome. Right. And then like some of the features of the South or Salt Lake or the Northeast is like you go into Boston, it's cold. You go to a Patriots game, you're freezing your nuts off. And like that's part of like, I'm in New England. Right. So yeah, anyway.
Is it
California knows how to party? That's what I always say.
Can you fly fish there?
Yeah, you can. Actually, I looked up a lot. And this trip I had booked way too much work stuff, but close in SoCal, you go to San Bernardino, foothills of the mountains there.
Yeah.
And there's stream and some decent fly fishing. You go to NorCal and it's like amazing, like up towards Mammoth and stuff. But
but it's great up there.
Next time I'm going to go, I want to try the San Bernardino stuff. And I had just finished fishing with my brother right as I was getting ready to go. And I was right before I turned on my red light and put on my mask to go to sleep. I was like Googling SoCal fishing. I was like, oh, there's good fly fishing in SoCal. I mean, not the best, but like, you know, you can definitely go. So
yeah.
Waylon's asleep.
Oh my God.
He's out.
If you don't watch the YouTube version of this, you have no idea that I'm holding like a 2-pound cat.
Yeah. Waylon needs no sleep tips. He's got it.
Just do whatever Waylon's doing. And that's
going on. Next slide.
Oh, let's see. Did anybody watch the Masters? Go ahead.
Before we go to the Masters, we should play another ad.
Yes.
From our sponsor.
Oh, please do.
Yes.
Let's
Attention
go
orders.
with this one. Attention orders.
That's what I love. What I've always loved about BW Tax is, you could be someone like me. I have a W-2 job still. Got to support the wife, the kids. There you go. Kids, there's child tax credits. It's the government has really created a wild maze that is income tax and loopholes and all that. And that's what the folks at BW Tax, that's their bread and butter. I mean, that's what they're known for and what they've come to be so excellent at. And that's why, you could talk to them remotely, even if you're from some place in the sticks like Western Northeast South Dakota, you can still talk to a warm body at BW Tax. It's not a bot. It's not a chat GPT service. It's real people there providing a real service. And that's what I love about them at bwtax.
bwtaxllc.com.
Yeah, that's
the warmest of bodies.
That's what I like about them.
My favorite part of that is Jordy laughed into the mic perfectly. And every time we play it, and it's been probably 5 weeks of playing it, maybe 6. I think he's laughing like again, which he probably is in his soul.
I laugh at the same time.
It's
every
like,
time.
like he's like, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
It was
good.
It was a great line.
It got me with the bread and butter, man.
Yeah.
Bread and butter.
Yeah. Anyway, next slide.
Masters.
One, did anyone watch the Masters? And like,
I did not.
Is it time that we just stop caring about Tiger Woods? Has the time come?
So,
yeah.
For those that don't know, he had his worst placement ever at the
plus
Masters, like
16,
his worst 2 rounds at the Masters. And this is like, you think back when he burst onto the scene and he was like going like 19 under par at Augusta National. Like,
well, for those that also don't know, the point that you're making up is they show like the top 5. And then at number 6, they show like Tiger Woods in 34th place.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so he's highlighted the whole time, even though he's playing terrible, where everyone else is playing terrible. It's not being highlighted.
Yeah.
Which I think is
headlines.
which I think is like, not an antidote, but like a showcase of like how good he once was. And it's true. Like, so I did not watch it. I was teaching my camp. I was doing different things, but like I would like go onto ESPN and like my initial response was like, how's Tiger doing? And I've never been a big golf guy.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like, I only really remember golf from when we were at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and Paulka used to talk about wearing red on Sundays and somehow tied it to Ewan because Ewan like wore red to like an event and like, do you remember that? Like would pass every test for 100% and then he would ace a test and they'd be like, so Ewan, did you wear red yesterday when you took this test? So it was like a running joke. And I was like, oh, like he's so good. It's like penetrated Marine Corps schoolhouses where they're like, so, I mean, I like greatness.
Same.
Have you golfed before?
Yeah, I tried to really get into it in high school and then I tried to get into it again and I just realized that I don't really like golfing.
I saw somebody posted like an interesting question. I think it was like on X. It was like, if you started on the green, but like the furthest away from the pin, like, could you make it in before they teed off? Because like some of those like it's like greens are like 150 yards. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty big greens. I think.
No, not that big. Not that big.
Okay, 150 feet. Maybe that might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that one.
150 yards. I talk in flakes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's especially at Augusta National because those greens are nasty. Like that, they
God bless the
things
Masters.
difficult.
Steve Spurrier didn't want to come to South Carolina, and they promised him a lifetime membership at Augusta National, and he said, "I'm your coach."
Yep.
And 3 back-to-back 11-win seasons. So I love the Masters. Yeah, but no, I didn't watch it. Did you watch it, Jeff?
I mean, I've checked in a couple times just to kind of see. I don't know. I always like watching. That's like the only golf tournament really that I'll like. Okay, I definitely want to at least like turn it on for a little bit. Yeah.
Let's ask Jordy because he's in the heart of it here. Was everyone walking around town dressed like Easter eggs?
I did not see that. No.
Did you go out? Like, I mean,
walked
not like
around.
go out, but like, did you walk around?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when I moved here last year, I moved here in March, and when the Masters happened, I think it happened a week earlier last year. It was like the first week in April or whatever.
Okay.
But I remember being like, why is everyone dressed like an Easter egg?
Oh, I
Easter
didn't
already
see this.
happened.
Yeah.
And it was everyone was going to like bars and restaurants to watch the Masters.
I did see a ducked Jeep though.
Oh yeah. I've seen
Oh.
I think South Carolina ducks way more Jeeps than any other state.
Top Jeep ducking
It's just
state in the
Diana.
union.
Yeah. It's just Diana.
Yeah, Dee's just going around doing it.
She's going around ducking.
haven't
Jeeps.
seen
I
any
can't-
duck Jeeps.
Yeah, I can't be convinced otherwise. It's a Diana.
So did I tell you guys about waving to Teslas?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not a thing in
How's that
California.
catching on?
That's not a thing in
It's not a
California.
thing in California.
Because you're waving at every car.
Every other car's a Tesla.
They
It's
just
called
do it.
waving. Yeah,
That's
it's
like
called
waving at Subarus in
Hello.
Utah. Like
Yeah.
your arm's gonna fall off. Oh my gosh, there's so many Subarus here.
Big Subaru country.
We got any more slides?
I had a Subaru. It was my first car.
Yeah. Thanks.
Subaru Legacy. Yeah, it got totaled in the end, so that's no good.
Oops. Well,
Oops.
Where are you going, Waylon?
great. Good. You came out all right from the crash, right? Like you're still alive, so good safety rating.
You know, the only thing, the thing I liked about the Subarus when I was like checking out the cars, when I was like, you know, getting my car and everything first time, is I liked the doors on the Subaru because they were like clunky, thick, you know, heavy doors compared to like a Ford door. No offense to Ford, but the doors are not. I wouldn't call them beefy, and I just like the
It's a
beefy
hot
doors.
take right there.
But
Ooh, found on road dead.
No,
I will say,
fix or repair daily.
I ended up getting T-boned in that Subaru on the driver's side door, and I was fine. So
For only redneck drivers, I got the third one in there.
yeah,
So shout out to Subaru. Protect
shout out to
sponsor.
Subaru doors, specifically the doors.
The driver's side door.
Let's
Yes,
come up with an
Subarus.
acronym for Subaru. Nope.
Surely you've
That's
been
great,
under radar effects.
Surely you've been.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good off the cuff.
That's pretty good.
not bad.
That was pretty
Good
good.
job.
That's pretty good. Oh. I don't know. That about does it. Any saved rounds from the group?
Mm.
Not really, man.
I'm trying to think. I need to go see that Civil War movie came out.
Oh, I do
So,
wanna see
okay,
that.
that's been popping up all over my feed
Oh.
negatively on X. Like, if you're watching the Civil War movie, remember that war is terrible. I'm like, well, obviously.
Well, yeah. Duh.
But what is the
Wow,
premise
hot
of
take
this?
there.
Did Clint Eastwood direct it? Like what's going on?
I don't
Is
think
it on
Clint Eastwood
Netflix?
directed
Is it in the theaters?
It's in theaters.
Why are
It's
they
in
mad?
theaters.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are
If
they
the
mad?
internet's mad, there's something they don't like. Is it like the Civil War? Like it's the War of
It's
Northern
like-
Aggression? Is that what we're
No,
talking
it's
about?
like modern day, like if our country today went
California
had a
versus
Civil War.
Texas. Got
No,
it.
actually, I think in
There
the
is
movie,
something like that in there. Yeah.
I think in the movie, California and Texas like are on the same team.
I kind of
What?
think that Texas is a city in California.
Well, I don't understand that
I'm
at
sorry,
all.
Trey,
I'm lost.
Trey,
I'm lost on that
Trey,
one.
you just,
Sa-
you just
same
scrambled
country.
Trey's brain. Just like confused.
I guess that's my hot take. I want to go see it. I think it looks
I do
interesting.
too. Yeah, I watched the trailer.
So who
for
are
it
they
and I was
fighting against? Why
It's a
is everyone
civil
always
war, so they're
the
fighting-
Southerners?
It's
But I mean,
They're
if
just
California and Texas on the same team, do they cut the country in half and fight?
I think it's maybe more like East West kind of deal.
I know a lot of people are
Tupac
like.
and Biggie kind of thing.
I think
Oh.
it's split up by time zones. I think it's
Yeah,
East
yeah,
Coast.
Oh, so 70% of the world against 30%.
Yeah,
Good.
those who
Yeah,
use
something like that.
daylight
The
savings
synopsis.
time versus those who don't.
The synopsis is: in a dystopian future America, a
Wait,
team
someone explain dystopian.
means like terrible
Not
apocalypse.
utopia.
Yeah, not utopia.
Okay,
Opposite.
cool. Thanks.
Oh,
Restart. In a dystopian
Not utopian.
future America, a team of military embedded journalists races against time to reach Washington, D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House.
Because we're from the side.
Rebel factions. Yikes.
Those
Sorry.
rebel factions.
It looks
that's
good.
my
though.
hot
Like,
take.
I'll
Yeah,
watch
that's my
the
hot
trailer.
take. We'll see how it goes.
Are you going this weekend?
I'll see it at some point in time. I don't know.
Okay. We'd love a review. Maybe
Yeah,
next week.
I'll see if I can get it in before the next show.
So I'm going to text him, but I'll say it live on air so you can hold me to it. Let's get big Caleb Gottlich on next week.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So if he
We'll see.
listens to this one, he knows we're serious, and then you can text him. And
he
then
listens to most of them.
I can coordinate.
You can do your shoulder surgery live on the podcast.
I think he is doing a joint rotation right now, so that might work out. Yeah.
Hey.
Nice. Live stream.
Joint rotation.
Ooh.
Whoa. Not in
20,
Texas.
am I right? The
Episode
price for
14.
Bitcoin 6969 right now. Hey.
4 more days, Jeff.
Oh, I did
No,
think about Jeff.
I don't do that.
I did. Yeah, he doesn't do that. He's a Marine. I did think about that, Jeff. I thought about you today. I was leaving the gym. I went to fill up my water bottle, and it's like May the 4th party. And it was like all the rock climbing events. And then I'm like reading the events. I'm like, so it's all the stuff you usually do, but on May the 4th. And I was like, I can't wait to text Jeff. May the 4th be with you.
And with you.
As long as it's with both of us, we're good.
I'm so lost.
Trey, have you been working on your sign off?
No, it's the same answer every week. You know this.
Yeah, just don't talk about MyFace or Spotbook, and then just remember that it's www.theokpodcast.com.
I feel like I got it right last week, right?
Take it from the top.
What episode are we on?
016.
This has been episode 016 of the
Okay.
podcast. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Great conversation, pretty much over about nothing and everything at the same time. Great episode, guys. Great episode. I'd like to thank our sponsor, BW Tax. Tax season ended, but guess what? Good news is you get to do it again next year. So start early.
Thank you,
Self-lifting
guys.
ice cream cone.
Find us on Instagram, X.
Spot book.
Yeah, Spotbook is what Grant said.
MyFace.
I don't know. The best way to find us, just go to www.theokpodcast.com and just click all the links there. Subscribe. But did I miss anything?
No, I think that's good.
Love it.
Yeah. Follow Gottlich3 on X.
3 Gottlich. Close enough.
3 Gottlich. Biggie JP on IG. Jordy _ long on Instagram and X.
Yeah.
Grant SSC on X. And The Strength Co. on Instagram. Who the podcast is powered by. And if you want BW Tax merch, coffee cups, t-shirts, stickers. Nothing's in production, but comment below because it would be funny to screenshot and then post on the internet. And who knows, if enough of you comment, maybe we'll do it. Thanks for listening. And Waylon must go to sleep now. We'll see you next time.